think we'll make a start. And if people come in, they can come in. Ka pai? Yeah? Yeah. All right. Well, morena te mari e whānau. Before we start our session for the day, I'd just like to begin us with a karakia, and then we'll get into our session. Ka pai. Thank you for joining us this morning. Okay, karakia timatanga I noi tātai. Hauora mai runga, hauora mai raro, hauora mai roto, hauora mai waho. Hauora te pūtaki o tēnei kaupapa ki a pūrangi aho tātou I te wānanga me te kōrero. Tēnei te titi ake e te pau hauora ki te pūtaki o tēnei wānanga. Tūturu o whiti whakamaua kia tīna, haumi e, hui e, tae ki e. E mihi ane ki a tātou. Tātou ka whakakotahi mai ki te kaupapa o te pūaha kōrero. He kaupapa rest, reflect and reset for Matariki. Tēnā koutou, tēnā rā tātou katoa. Ko Tuihana Ohia tōku ingoa no he taha tōku pāpa no Ngātirangi nui, no Ngāti Pūkenga me te aroa o ku iwi no tauranga moana, tauranga tangata. He taha tōku māma no Denison, McKissick, Whitehorn and Stilo whānau, no Scotland, Ireland, England, Germany and France. Kia ora koutou. Beautiful to see all your kanohi this morning. I'm now going to hand it over to Michelle. Over to you, Michelle.
Good morning, everybody. For Michelle Gallagher Tukunga. I'm the program coordinator here at CSI, and we'd just like to ask you first up to do a little bit of admin for us. The Te Pūaha talks are supported by Foundation North and made free for their grantees in the community sector. So we'd love you to take part in this little poll just to let us know if you have received funding. So hopefully you should see that now. Just give you a minute or two to do the nice clicking. And to date, we've presented on a range of topics, so from grant writing, collaboration, evaluation, and we'll share a bit of a link in the chat in a moment in case any of those past talks are of interest. Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Beautiful.
Okay, and so, yeah, just handing back to Tuihana. Can't wait for today's session. Thanks.
Morena whānau, well, I just want to mihi to you all for making the time to come in this morning. Yes, Anthony, when I saw your surname come up, for those that are from Tauranga, we know you know the names from home, and so I saw the name wharenui pop up, and I thought that is a name from home. And our auntie, the youngest of 11 of my dad's brothers and sisters, married at wharenui. So yes, we are whanaunga. Lovely to see you on here this morning. Well, we are coming into a bit of a beautiful time of Matariki, and it really is an opportunity for us to, we were talking actually before we came into the session that there's kind of a general sense of a bit of tiredness at the moment, and so this is an opportunity for us to reset and reflect. And actually, I'm looking off to my right hand side now, and I've got this beautiful little calendar that tells me what the different moon phases are, and then the different Te Whare Tapa Whā, which is what we'll be doing today. Some work, and okoro is to be mindful and present. So what a beautiful day to have a session such as this. And Matariki really does gift us the opportunity to do a bit of reflection, to do a bit of a reset, and also just to take this moment to have a bit of a whakatau, a bit of a rest today. So what I'd really love to do is I'd really love to hear from each of you in the chat, if you can, as to, and we're going to do a bit of whakawhanaungatanga, because if you're doing whakawhanaungatanga, it can take forever sometimes as we, share. And I can see Sonia had a little bit of a smile when I said that. And it would be really lovely to put your name and where you're from. And when I say where you're from, not just your organisation, but where's your whenua? Where are you from? You know, which country, which place in Aotearoa. We really lovely if you could please put that into the chat. We're going to be using the chat option a bit today, as there's quite a number of you online, 44. Awesome. So if you could put that into the chat, that would be beautiful. I'd love to know a little bit more about each of you. Kia ora. And let's have a look. Oh, taranaki. Kairangi aha, kia ora. Sena, oh, no, Otopoti, beautiful. From London and Southland, we love that, Stephanie. Bride pa, oh, te mātou a Maui. Kia ora, Bronwyn, thank you. Motueka, wow, from all over the motu today. Patararu, oh, kia ora. Mangere, beautiful, from South Africa, beautiful. Te Maru, Hauora, o Taitahi, beautiful. Otopoti, Pōneke, Samoan, living in Auckland, kia ora tai. Gorgeous. Whakapapa to USA City in our Aotearoa, beautiful. Tulawhalawa, ai, Whangaparua, Samoan. So, oh, beautiful. Gorgeous. Hapuatiko. Wow. Tai Tokoro. Ah, this is gorgeous. I love it because we can see that we are from the very tip of Aotearoa to the very south of Aotearoa. However you want to look at that, by the way. Beautiful. Whangaparua, Nelson, Taranaki, Contemporaries. Te awa Kairangi, beautiful Pamela. Tamaki Makaurau, Queenstown, wow, lovely. We all like a little bit of Queenstown. Gorgeous. Thank you, everybody. Really appreciate you putting that into the chat. I think it's always important to do a bit of whakawhanaungatanga. Originally from the Philippines. Beautiful, from Dargaville. Gorgeous. Wow. Takapuna Lavantamaki Makaurau. Beautiful, Sarah. Thank you so much, whānau, for sharing. It's beautiful. Now, before we get into the mahi, there's a beautiful thing that we're now going to do, which I think many of us, Huiri tēnei no tarangawana, beautiful. We are just going to take a moment, and I just want each of you to, no matter whether you're in a car or whether you're in an office or whether you're at home or wherever you may be, but I'd really love you to all take a moment to just get really comfortable in the turu, in the seat, wherever you may be at the moment. Place your hands wherever you feel really comfortable. Ideally, your feet will be planted on the ground. We're just going to do a bit of ha. We're just going to take a bit of time to do a bit of breath work before, as part of the session today. We often take, ha or breath quite, for granted. So really love you to just, some of you might want to shut down your eyes. Some of you may want to keep them open. It's up to you, ka pai. But just be really comfortable. Just ask you to lift those shoulders up to your ears, to your taringa a couple of times and drop them down. Just do that a couple of times. Beautiful. Would love you to take note of your breath right now. Try and kind of shut out all of those distractions, and where you need to be next, just be present in the moment and where we are now. Ka pai. Just noticing your breath, if it's coming in through your nose, out through your mouth. I did this beautiful breathwork session on Friday and it was just really lovely. And it really nourishes your tinana, nourishes your body, nourishes your hinengaro, your mental health and well-being, your wairua, spiritual side, and also your tinana. Just going to get you to breathe in and breathe out. Try and block out all the wee wawa and all the noise. You might want to breathe in through your nose and just breathe out through your mouth. And do it from your puku, from your pito, from your belly button. Really breathe in and out from that space. We're really going to take our time through this session today, so nothing's going to be rushed. So please don't rush your breath. Just give yourself a moment to replenish yourself. And you may want to think about your tinana, and if you've got any niggles in your tina in your body, just breathe in a breath and send it to that space within your tinana. And you might want to ask yourself as you're taking in your breath, what brought you here today? What brought you here to this session today? And yawning is a natural part of breathing. When you're ready, you can just open your eyes. When you're ready, just when you're ready, give yourself a bit of a wiggle, a bit of a shake, stretching. Stretching's really good for us. Oh. 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 Love you to put in the chat how you're arriving today. What brought you here today? How are you arriving into this space? And be pono with your kōrero. Be honest. I was prepping for this session this morning. My niece was sitting next to me, writing in te reo Māori and drawing me love hearts. And yeah. So how are you arriving in this session today? Needing to, Danae, kia ora. Arriving with curiosity, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Low energy, emotional fatigue, loving breath, reflection, taking it slow, beautiful, Ed. Ready to learn and experience. Been feeling really fatigued and excited to do some rest and connection. Grateful, beautiful, eager for a bit of a reset. Fill up your cup. Seeking nourishment, beautiful. Busy mind, tired body, beautiful. Beautiful. Waiata, looking to connect with myself and the energy I have. I've had a busy couple of weeks and a busy mind, so looking to reset Vicky, beautiful. Improve my well-being, adding this gorgeous needing a brain reset and feeling tired, so needing to be reminded of how to take care of my energy. Gorgeous. I couldn't fatigue mentally. Yeah, seems to be a bit of a reoccurring theme. Feeling a bit of pressure under deadlines, Sarah. Reset, recharging. I love that colour. Awesome. Awesome whānau. I love that for us. Well, today's session really, ai ka whakaha kia whakangā amo uki. Beautiful boy. Yeah. Conscious of the special time. Puanga, yes, Danae. Thank you for the reminder. Puanga, Matariki. Thank you. This really is quite a special time, and it is a time really where we need to take that moment of rest and reflect and reset. Matariki or puanga, as it's known in some spaces and places across the motu, really gives us that opportunity. And just want to take you back to December 2023 as we go into Christmas and we go into the traditional, or I'd say, is it traditional, or the Western New Year, that we often feel a bit of fatigue and we often feel a bit of tiredness. So it comes as no surprise that we're feeling a bit like that as we come into this time of Matariki. And today, as I sat with my niece, and she said, "What are you doing, Auntie?" And she was all of 5, and we were having a bit of a kōrero around the Matariki. We went and looked on them, and I would encourage you to look on the site, matariki.com. And her father was actually worked with Dr. or Professor Rangi Mātāmua on the design of Matariki as we know it today, with the various stars or the various whetū, and how those various whetū mean something. You know, one is about kai, one is about the sea, one is about the forest. So the different colours of those whetū have different meanings for us. But also there were these beautiful ura or values, and the values that underpin or the foundation for Matariki. And I was reflecting on this session today, and there's aroha. And I think that in this session we bring that, which is love and respect for each other. Whakamau maharatanga, which is also remembering, because this is a time of remembering those that have passed. Kotahitanga, so we come together in unity as one for this session. Toha, we're going to be doing some sharing today, and we've already shared in the chat this morning. Manataiao, so environmental awareness, because from Te Ao Māori or Kaupapa Māori perspective, we understand that there's this interconnectedness between ourselves and the environment that surrounds us. Hakari, because this is a time for feasting. And in fact, the theme for this year is to come together. Matariki Herakai, so the Feast of Matariki. That's Matariki whetū hei kai, so Matariki, the bringer of food. So this month is, this kaupapa, this theme for this Matariki is around kai. Wānanga, because we're going to have some discussion, we're going to have some kōrero. Tono tahi, so we're all coming together. Whakanui, celebration. Ata whaetanga, which is kindness. And tua hiritanga, which is kiritanga, which is around identity. So if we think about that, this session really is around looking at our Te Whare Tapa Whā. It's around doing some reflection. And we're going to create our Te Whare Tapa Whā from both a perspective of reflection, but also a perspective of moving into Matariki. And Matariki is really a great opportunity to do that. Te Whare Tapa Whā, for those that are not aware of Te Whare Tapa Whā, really was created by Professor or Sir Mason Durie. And it reflects on 4 po of your Hauora, of your well-being. And then there's also a 5th. And then I also like to add a 6th. okay? And there are no rules, by the way. But what it does is it gives us a holistic viewpoint of our well-being using those po. And po are really those kind of, po are what really underpin our mahi. They're kind of what hold us steadfast, strong. So if I was to think about my Te Whare Tapa Whā, and I always use personal, I'm quite transparent whānau. And so if I think about my Te Whare Tapa Whā from a year and like looking in reflection, if you had have seen me a year ago, I probably put on a bit of a mask and everything was great, but there was actually it was quite a turbulent time in my life. And my hinengaro was a bit all over the place, really, to be honest. And my tinana, naturally, I'm a person that exercises quite a bit, but I really felt a need to I just need to give myself some space and a break, So I took time out from being so crazy about exercise. My wairua was really a bit wee wawa, so it was a bit unbalanced. It really was. My whānau, my boys were quite good. I think they were just trying to be supportive of their mother, who was in quite a stage of grief. But the thing that really kept me quite grounded was the fact that I was from a place known as Tauranga, and I knew that I could always return home to ground myself in that place. My whatu manawa, my kariaroto, my feelings and emotions were really quite scattered, But as I sit here before you today, I reflect that, wow, there's been so much growth and so much learning and so many lessons. I've recently resigned from a job. I feel amazing, actually. My hinengaro's feeling quite positive about what the future looks like for me. My tinana, I'm starting to go back and do exercise, and I'm really enjoying that. I used to be a bit of a group fitness geek. Now I'm kind of doing weights and strengthening, which is really beautiful. My wairua is feeling much more positive and very grounded. Before I came into the session, I went and stood out in the rain and just welcomed everything that today was going to bring. And whenua, I just was back home in Tauranga last weekend and the weekend before, and it's just a beautiful place to be for me. It just reminds me of who I am, of my whakapapa. And while I didn't go to the urupa to see my grandparents, I knew that they were with me anyway. And, where my auntie's house is, I can kind of see the urupa and the marae. So you just give them a little bit of a wave. And I'm feeling really positive. My whatu manawa is very much in reflective mode. Like many others here, I am feeling quite tired. But I'm accepting what that tiredness is and accepting what that learning may be. So the last 12 months has been an incredible learning journey. And I'm really grateful for it. And I'm really blessed, actually, to have been through what I've been through in the last 12 months. So as I sit here today, I think, right, yes, I know I need rest. And so I've been home twice over the past little bit. It is a great time to reflect, and it's a great time to reset. But in that is also an opportunity to celebrate, right? To celebrate us. And so what we're going to ask you to do, and I'm running ahead of time, which is super unusual. So we're going to take a little bit of extra time today. And I'm just going to play a bit of music. I am a bit of a Stan Walker fan, I've just got to say. He is a nephew, and he recently lost his father, hence why I was back home in Tauranga. And he's an amazing young man, and I'm a bit of a fan of his writer, so we're going to probably be listening to a bit of Stan Walker today. And he has got some really profound songs that he's done recently, which really reminds us of who we are and to stand in our light. So I'm going to ask you all, and hopefully you've got pen or paper, and you might have a phone. No judgment here. And I'd love you to take a pen and paper out or on your phone. And you might not even want to do that. You may just want, you've got it in your hinengaro, in your uipoko. And that is to write out, first of all, and I'll put it in the chat because not everyone's always aware of the spelling. So just bear with me for a moment. And that is, I want you to write out, give some space to each of these on your page. Hear me typing away. So, hinengaro, tinana, wairua, whānau, whenua, and I'll explain each of these. And the other one is whatu manawa. Or, if you like, kare a motu. Can everybody see those? And I didn't put macarons on this time. So hinengaro is your mental health and well-being. Tinana is your physical well-being. Wairua is your spiritual well-being. Now, often people get a little bit sometimes stuck on wairua. Wairua is, I always like to connect it to whenua, which is a place, a space, a person, people, or an object that give you a sense of belonging. That when you feel like you need to ground yourself, when things might be a bit, you just want to kind of kiato, you just want to settle yourself. That's your wairua, kind of letting you know. So that's your spiritual well-being. Whānau is your family or your social well-being. Whenua being what you're connected to. And whatu manawa or karearoto are also your feelings and emotions. So what I'd love you to do is to spend a bit of time reflecting on how your Te Whare Tapa Whā, with all those different areas of it, or kaupapa, have been for you. And I want you to take your time. So this is a reflection piece. Ka pai? And then once you've kind of reflected on the time that's been, I'd love you to look at, and it could be also where you are now, and then where are you today? Ka pai? Ka pai? So you're going to have till 9, I'm just making sure I'm sticking to time here, whānau. I'm going to give you from now till 9:45 to take your time to go through this. So I want you to reflect on the year that's been, and then I want you to reflect on the current here and now. Ka pai? And then also, when I say here and now, also like, where would you like to spend more time and energy in your Te Whare Tapa Whā? And what is something positive that you would like to grow this year for yourself, but also your mahi? Ka pai? And I believe that that Boyd who's online is a close friend of a friend called Kitty Leach. So I just want to mihi to you, Boyd. But please, I'm going to turn on some music now, and I want you to take your time. Ka pai? Just take your time through this. You can do pictures, you can do whatever it is. It's yours. Ka pai? And I'm just going to play some music. And I'm going to do this with you, by the way. So let's play. exercise, what we're going to do now is we're going to put you into, but please, you know, it's not everyone's cup of tea. But what we'd like to do is put you into breakout rooms. There'll be breakout rooms of 4, and we ask, and you'll be in there for 20 minutes, and we ask that you have 5 minutes each, that you be mindful of each other's times, and you share your Te Whare Tapa Whā. What you might want to focus on is one area that you found particularly challenging, and what you'd like to spend more time and give more time and energy to. Ka pai? And just something positive that you'd like to grow for yourself or your workplace this year. Ka pai? So, so if you could please, I'm going to send you into the, or Michelle's going to put you into breakout rooms now for 20 minutes. So from now until 10:05, you'll be placed into a breakout room, and if you could please have a corridor with one another, that would be great. When you come back in, I'm going to ask somebody from your group to provide some feedback and to share. Ka pai? So nominate a person within your ropu to talk on your ropu behalf as to some of the perhaps reoccurring corridor, the things that you may have discussed. Ka pai, Paiana? Yeah? Cool? Ka pai. Right. Thank you, Michelle.
Can't hear me, can they? No.
Can everybody hear me? Cool. Now I'm just going to ask for someone from your group to share, please. So who's going to volunteer themselves?
I'll have a go, Tuihana.
Okay. Kia ora, thank you, Danae.
Get in quick before I lose my nerve. Just our recurring corridor was just like, what a massive few years it's been for people. It just seems like, yeah, it's like so much has happened and so much challenging stuff has happened for people. And, you know, there's a real need for finding sort of calmness and order, taking care of ourselves, like being present in the moment and not to, you know, really looking after ourselves and feeding our beings, connecting with nature. But yeah, just the biggest thing that came out of that really was this like massive things that people have had to deal with in their lives, and some of it, a lot of it's personal stuff, some of it's like work stuff and all the challenges that are in our area if we're working in the community. So yeah, just an acknowledgement of how much we need to be present and look after ourselves. Yeah,
Beautiful.
and also whānau connections and the importance of those came through, and our children and grandchildren.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. It has been quite a tumultuous couple of years, and you know, this government is definitely an interesting one. So and I just want to, before we move on to someone else, thank you, Danae, for sharing, but also, you know, many of you work in spaces where the community are relying on you now in these times, and you feel often that the pressure of that. So I just want to mahi to all the work that you're doing and amongst all the various communities and spaces that you work. Thank you. Who would like to go next? Oh, thank you, Karan. I hope I said your name properly. Yes? Oh, beautiful. Just unmute yourself. Yes, there you go.
Kia ora koutou. I was in a breakout room with some absolutely beautiful wahine. We had, apart from the fact the years have been hard, we had 50% identifying that our wairua, or sense of belonging, was something we needed to work on. The fact that that sense of belonging, be it in the workplace or in our home life, causes ripples into other po. And that the other key theme was that we need to balance the po. Where so many are giving their energy to others to the point that they're feeling stretched. Couple of points were raised that I thought were really useful, and that's the value of the Te Whare program, which I'm going to share with others, and the value of supervision, where you get to learn to ask for what you need, either with your team or with your staff or with your whānau. And we're left with a question, and that is, does anyone know of any mindfulness programs in the North Shore? If you could put it in the chat, thank you. That would be awesome. But really, a big reflection on the fact, and these are my words, that you've got to fill your own cup before you can fill others.
Yes.
Find balance, balance, balance. And that looks different for everyone.
It does. Thank you, Kara, and I really appreciate you sharing on behalf of your rōpū. And you make a beautiful point there around the importance of taio, or the role that taio plays in our well-being, whether that be the ngahere, the moana, the sea, the awa, the rivers, or maunga, the mountains. You know, they can play a role in our well-being, and I'll talk a little bit about that after we've heard from everybody. But who's next? Thank you. Oh, yes, kia ora.
Kia ora, everyone. My name's Nina, and I was in a beautiful group with Kim, Rachel, and Sarah. And yeah, the handful of things, I made a few notes here that came up, were feeling challenged with finding a sense of belonging, and the connection to whenua, to home.
Yeah.
And then also the financial pressures, and feeling a lot of financial pressure at the moment, and feeling like on a treadmill, which was a word that came up, and therefore struggling to find that balance with the well-being, really taking care of the self. And yeah, also similarly, some big challenges in life with family and health, and therefore feeling really exhausted and out of body, as well as noticing like a massive like nervous system overload.
Yes.
And yeah, I think kind of the moving forward that the different people felt was, yeah, finding that space to really take care of one's well-being. And then there was also talk of wanting to step more into leadership, as well as community offerings. And I think I made sure I covered everything there.
Beautiful. Thank you, Nina.
Ngā
Ngā mihi. Who would like to go next? Oh, yes, Caitlin.
Kia ora koutou. I was in a beautiful group of Jamie, who I actually know from university and have reconnected with through this. We were lab partners together. That was where we began. And Joss as well, who's a new connection. So great to meet you. I think the biggest thing that we chatted through was that we all reached a point of emotional disarmament, or like a breaking point, where we were surprised by our emotions. And then it was a moment for change and an intentional path forward. So shifting circumstances, which then also flowed on to feeling I guess, a little bit unstable, or there was lots of questions about how do we hold space for each of the different parts of our well-being amidst a changing climate, amidst personal changes, when our physical location might change, our circumstances might change, our mental space might change. How do we try to keep some sort of stable, or a one place where we can hold to, or one thing that we can hold to that gives us belonging amidst all of that? And I think, especially, if your sense of tūranga waiwai is also international, how do you create that where you are? And I think there was, I went also a reflection and a affirmation that looking back on the year and seeing that we're in a different place now, or we've got some different questions, maybe we've got some different challenges, but we've made it through some tough times. So that was really beautiful to have that sharing, and it was very open and vulnerable, and right off the bat, and I really appreciated our time together. So I think hopefully I've summarized that well on a high level, but feel free to add any comments if you have anything additional you want to add. Ngā mihi koutou.
Oh, beautiful. Ngā mihi, Caitlin. It's a beautiful, thank you. Thank you for sharing. That was lovely. I can see some recurring themes coming through here. So be good to talk about that once we've heard from everybody. So thank you, Caitlin, and to your rōpū. Just want to mihi to each of you. Next, who would like to go next? Oh, yes, Sonia.
Hi, Talofa. I had a lovely group of our team, and group number 3. We some of us found it quite confronting to have to think about ourselves for more than 2 minutes, and wanted to sit in the excuse of having to not think about ourselves and think about others. But very similar to the themes that have been said, but some of them were that we'd like to add was personal responsibilities that were happening, overwhelming ourselves and that in our lives at the moment and in the past 12 months, having to see what has changed either personally with caring for others, people leaving in your world, and that was your whenua or your grounding person, or like myself, my ground is different from a different city, and I'm wanting to make this new city my new place long term, so changing that space in there as well. And then Tai has adopted a new place that she wants to be her grounding space here in New Zealand, and that's kind of making her happy space there. And other things were to find other ways to reconnect, either with other people again that bring you joy, or finding new ways to actually balance the joy in your everyday world, rather than thinking on ways that we're not meeting the goals that we're supposed to be meeting. So I just like to add those to all of the other kaupapas that have been mentioned already, and especially things that changes at home and other people's responsibilities, or having that pressure on you on the everyday basis, apart from just the mahi stuff. Some people have been, especially the workspaces are changing as well, restructures and job losses, and how that's affecting the stress and do I want to be here in the next 12 months? And what else do I want to learn over the next time? So those are some of the themes that we discussed, and it was beautiful to have that time to share it with our group. So, whaftai, thank you.
Oh, whaftai, Sonia, that's beautiful sharing. Thank you so much. Yeah, there's a flux of much change happening for many at the moment. So, and thank you for acknowledging that for so many who are going through all sorts of different types of change. Who would like to go next? I think Bronwyn, you'd volunteered to go next. Is that right?
Kia ora, te whānau.
Kia ora, Bronwyn.
I actually took some inspiration from our group. The tuihana that I was in the group with have are feeling the weight of everything that has been in the kōrero already. But the inspiration that I took was they're a little bit ahead in the Hauora journey than I am. So it was cool to see ways in which they had prioritized and found things that worked for them. So that was really cool, and having that opportunity to share and learn. But yeah, there's a lot going on out there at the moment. So this is Old Matariki comes at a really good time for us all to take that time for us and for our whānau. And that was the theme of our kōrero. So kia ora.
Kia ora. Thank you, Bronwyn. Thank you. Beautiful sharing. Matariki is a great time. It is a beautiful time. Who would like to go next? Oh, yes. I'm going to say Eliana. Is that correct?
Kia ora, that's right. Kia koutou. Yeah, we had such a beautiful kōrero and with Ed and Agnes and Katie, and we were all talking about the same stuff really, which was really beautiful and kind of the same as everybody else has been saying. The main thing was like to do like kind of a dichotomy of like doing less, but doing more things to kind of reconnect to ourselves or our community. A lot of people talked about spending more time creatively for themselves and doing that kind of nurturing, and then also connecting or reconnecting to nature and the land around them. And it was just really nice, and I'm just really proud of everybody for thinking about this stuff and like thinking about prioritizing themselves and being really nurturing to themselves, and that was awesome. Beautiful.
Thank you, Eliana. It is lovely when you hear the people wanting to make priority or making priority to nurture themselves. It's gorgeous. Anyone else, please? Oh, Kirsty or Wendy? Should we go Kirsty and then we'll go Wendy? Is that okay?
You can go, Kirsty, go.
Kia ora koutou. Oh, thank you, Wendy. Wendy was actually in my group. We had a wonderful connection, the two of us in our special group. And it was interesting because we had a lot of similarities. We discovered that we both looking for balance, wanting to balance our work lives with something else. And we've found that we've got art as a shared interest in common. And I think also another similarity was that we're both sort of facing new roles, no longer with dependent children, wanting to give them space to grow as independent humans, and having to let go of that as a big part of this growth that's going on for us at the moment. Also, it was in terms of our tinana, giving ourselves permission to take time out to exercise, whether it's on the exercise bike or just walking the dog, just being a bit more available to allow that space. Personally, for me, it was the fact of moving house and how that changing of your home environment is quite unsettling, and trying to get that connection back, that feeling grounded again, because it's can be so unsettling for a little while. And then also another thing we discussed was just that concept of time and how it seems to be something of an elastic thing, how a task can take you 20 minutes or it can take an hour, and how do you reprioritize your tasks, your focus, so that you can make it done, get the task done in 20 minutes, and then that gives you that freedom to do whatever else you like with the rest of your time. So we covered a lot of ground, and it was really interesting. Hopefully, Wendy, I've covered pretty much.
Beautiful.
Jump on if you'd like to add on any bits, but it was a lovely kōrero.
Beautiful, Kirsty. Thank you. Thank you so much. It is so important that we make time for ourselves. Yes, Kala, you've got your hand up. Hi.
Yeah, I'm just gonna turn my video on. Kia ora.
Kia ora.
I don't know what group number we were, but we were a great group, and I'm sensing a lot of similar themes between everyone, but something that really struck me in our kōrero was people talking about work-life balance and how easily work can become all-encompassing, and the importance of making time for whānau, but also being compassionate to ourselves and finding that balance in life. So yeah, that was a big theme. Making time for family. Yeah, allowing space for ourselves and time to charge up as well, to replenish energy. And also the idea of role modeling just this conversation and integrating well-being and talking about well-being into all aspects of our lives, in particular our work, which does play such a big role in our lives. The fact that we could start this with ha and normalize that and make that part of the practice. Something I'm doing in my work, running music programs, is normalizing mindfulness and meditation to get the young people familiar with that yeah, if we just integrate it as a normal part of our lives, then we can strike that balance a bit easier. But yeah, thanks to my group for everyone sharing and everyone else who's here today.
Thank you, Carla. Thank you. And who else would like to go next? I don't know how many groups there were, so I'm like, I should have asked Michelle that earlier.
Might be pretty close. There might be one more, maybe. Ursula, did you have your hand up?
Should we go Ursula? Oh, yeah, Natalia, yeah. Should we go Ursula and then we'll go yes?
Oh, yeah,
yes.
go Ursula.
Yes. Ursula.
Kia ora koutou. I've been taking this opportunity to just do a little bit more work on my my image. So I kind of responded with visuals. I don't know if you can see that at all.
You certainly can.
But it was interesting for me to do that and go, I started kind of going, okay, like for example, the blue one is kind of water, and that's whānau, because it's okay, but it could be better, you know. Yeah, I prioritize my kids hugely, which is fantastic. And but you know, connections with cousins and my sister who lives 7 minutes down the road who I never see, you know, those kind of Auckland things. But it was kind of really cool to do that, and I was going, okay, like I like the idea of that being water. The pink kind of clouds I did as my now what was that kupu, whatu manua, because that's kind of like over and around everything, and emotions for me in the past year have been really solid. I'm in a really good place in my life, and it's really important to acknowledge that. I have been in very, very hard places, you know, further back with grief and things, so everything's pretty good. The black kind of, I tried to draw like a bit of a sad line. That's my tinana not getting any attention. So anyway, we talked about in my group were Amber and Gail, and I said initially I found it really hard to separate wairua from whenua and whānau, and Amber was like basically like, yeah, that's the whole point, like it's interconnected, hence why it's a whare and it stands up. So that was really cool for me just to think a bit more about that conceptually. And so then in our kōrero became around connectedness. We talked a lot about how everything, these areas are connected in our lives, and if something's a bit out of whack, it affects everything. You know, for example, just if something's really full on at home, how that it comes into play in your work situation. If something's really difficult at work, how it comes into play at home. And we talked about the idea of compartmentalizing and how that does or doesn't work. And we talked about, Amber gave a really lovely example, which is that she loves cold water swimming, and how that falls into every single one of the parts of the whare. So she sort of does it for her hinengaro, but it benefits her tinana. her kids love to go with her, so that's feeding the whānau, and it's connecting with the whenua and the moana. It's building her wairua, and all of these things, you know, take her whātumanawa into a good positive place. So I thought that was a really cool example. And Gail and I as well talked about intentions and being intentional about this year, and intentionality as opposed to something that I more want to do, which is just to kind of organically glide through life and kind of see where I end up, and trying to be a bit more intentional with where we find ourselves in our careers at this time, and with study and things like that. So yeah, it was a really, really worthwhile kōrero. Thank you to my group and to all of you.
Beautiful. Hey whānau, we're going to go a little over time, and aroha mai for that. So I just want to say, if you need to leave kei te pai, this is a series of 3, so we will be returning, but otherwise I'd ask you to stay on just for probably another 5 minutes. I think Natalie, you were next.
Sorry, I'll be really brief in that. Tuihana and I were in the room together, and I guess, you know, just getting through hurt, trauma, grief, all of that, and finding ways how we can get through it. I think the spiritual well-being, I think it's really important to listen to our bodies, because our body is actually a map. It'll tell you if things are not right, and it'll tell you if things are really good. So that was just one thing for me. Also just well-being. I like to go to my park, touch the plants, put my feet in the sand and ground myself, but also always giving gratitude as well is really important. We talked about taha whenua, how we're both going back to our families and also our villages and our marae, and that to really just, I guess, go back and understand, well, for me, going back and understanding my culture and who my people are in that as well. And yeah, my sense of belonging is with my ainga, with my people as well. I think that understanding the journey through whakawhanaungatanga is so important, because it kind of connects us all. And it just opens up that relationship for us to connect in better ways and that. But also listening to our tua and our tupuna as well. I talked about how I was gifted this, which is a oa or a waka. That was my father's. And I'm using this to jump in my own waka and row down my own awa to get to where I need to be. So kia ora.
Beautiful,
Taila.
beautiful. And Ursula, thank you for sharing. Aroha mai. It was beautiful. I loved seeing your picture. It was just so gorgeous, and talking on behalf of your rōpū, really appreciate it. And Natalie, thank you so much for sharing on behalf of us. Who was next? Is there anyone who we may not have? No, have we got everybody? Did we get everybody? Okay. We've gone a little over time, so I won't keep you for too much longer. This is a series, as I said, 1 of 3, and it has been a massive few years for people. We've had COVID and all sorts of things happening, and of course a new government, which some of us may or may not find quite challenging, definitely causing some different ways of thinking and being in our community. I love the whole hononga, and yes, I love that there was a realization for some people that everything is interconnected, because it is interconnected through Te Whare Tapa Whā. And although it may appear as different po, one feeling or one area actually reflects another. So there is this interconnectedness, or this hononga to everything. The reason that we ask you to look at your Te Whare Tapa Whā and to work through it is because often the answers that you're seeking are often within. And so what you've done by design is begin to craft what well-being looks like and feels like, smells like, tastes like, and sounds like to you. And you've actually provided yourself with a resource in order to resource yourself when things, and that's a Louise Mara word, when things are challenging for you. So I ask you to, however you've done your Te Whare Tapa Whā, is to look at it when you are feeling on moments of feeling a bit overwhelmed, tired, because that is what can resource you, is your Te Whare Tapa Whā. And in terms of your sense of belonging, for some of us, we have a village that we come from, we have an island that we come from, we have whenua that we come from. Everyone has something. But sometimes it's not necessarily land as such. It can also be a place, a space, which is, yes, but it can also be a person, people, or an object. So for instance, I can't be in tauranga, but I can imagine what tauranga is like. But I wear my grandmother's ring and I wear my nana's taonga most days just to remind me, so that if I can't be in that place, I'm still connected and it still gives me a sense of belonging. I hope that makes sense for you. So what I really do is, all I do is I'm just here to miri, or if you've got a Samoan massage, it's something else, but it's a bit harsher, but I can't remember. I do know the kupu. My oldest son is Samoan. Whafo. Somebody correct me,
Yeah,
please.
whafo, you're right.
Yeah.
Samoan.
Hi, Sonia. Yeah. And that is all I'm doing is facilitating what's already within each of you. Is bringing it a little bit out. And yes, it is uncomfortable to talk about ourselves, Sonia. But it's about nourishing ourselves and giving ourselves back a tongue or a gift. And so the next 1 week is going to lead on from this one and the one after. Ka pai? And Amber, thank you for sharing your whakaaro around the interconnectedness of Te Whare Tapa Whā. Just sometimes takes a little bit of landing to get there, but we'll work through it all. Ka pai? There's a song now, I don't know if you've been to one of my sessions before, but there's always a waiata that I always sing, because I feel like it doesn't matter from what ancestry you come from, we are all born of greatness. So, he ka kunoa hau, I rue a mai, I rangi a te a. 'Cause I can never be lost, I am a seed, born of greatness, descended from a line of chiefs, he kakanoa hau. So as you leave, I'd love you to all remember that no matter your whakapapa, where you're from, what lands you descend from, what sea you descend from, we are all born of lines of chiefs. We're forever grateful and show so much gratitude to our ancestors who have placed us here today. So as you leave, I'd love you to put up right now one kupu, one word that describes how you're leaving the session today. Ka pai? So go for it. Put that word up in the chat, please, whānau. Beautiful. And then I am going to close us with a karakia. Ka pai? So one moment, please, whānau. There's a karakia. To be honest with you, this government has made me feel a great sense of mana motuhake, of tino rangatiratanga. And there's a karakia that I always like to do, which reminds us of the indigeneity of this land and reminds us all, actually, of many things. So I'll read it to you. Kia tauna manakitanga a te mea naro, ki runga ki tēnā o tātou. Kia mahia te hua makihikihi, kia toi te kupu, toi te mana, toi te aroha, toi te reo Māori, kia titiru whakamawa kia tīna, haumie hui taiki.
Taiki.
Whakatai lava whānau. Thank you. Have a beautiful, beautiful day, and I hope to see all your beautiful kanohi at the next session. Meanwhile, use that Te Whare Tapa Whā. It can always be reiterated, right? It doesn't stand fast, it moves and changes. Much aroha from all of us at CSI to you. And please don't forget, because I know I'm going to get a growling, there's a survey, a little survey that Michelle's going to put up. And if you can quickly fill that out, that would be beautiful. Would mean a lot to us. So thank you so much for your time, for your space, your energy, for your wairua, for your whakaaro and your kōrero this morning. Go with much aroha. Mwah.
After lava, Manuela, so.